Hello and welcome back to another episode. This one is going to be all about TV, specifically the TV that I was able to watch in 2025. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. I've structured this in the following way. I watched 5 shows last year. I'm going to do 4 shows where I face off 2 and 2, and then I just kind of speak about all 4 and then take a pick on each side there, and then the 5th show will be a little bit of a standalone monologue on in terms of me sharing my thoughts on that show on its own feet. So, first face off I've got for 2 shows that I watched last year was The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live versus Fallout Season 1. So, The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, it's the Rick and Michonne spin-off. I wanted to get some closure on the character, as Rick Grimes has been one of my favourite characters across all media for many, many, many years. I remember watching the pilot in 2010 and just falling in love with Andrew Lincoln's portrayal of him. And having not got the closure with his character arc in the main show, I was going to leave this spin-off for a while to see maybe they were going to do a season 2 of it. I'm not sure if that's still being thought about, but I've managed to get some closure from the character now, having watched it last month. And The Ones Who Live. It's maybe not that early season 1, season 2 Walking Dead that maybe in my head I thought, oh, maybe there's a chance to go back to some of that I'd hoped it would be. I imagine it's kind of more in line with where the comics went, which I must admit I've not watched the comics, and I've not watched any of the other spin-offs. I watched the main show. I did have some breaks from it as we got through to maybe like season 5, 6. Like I dipped out and then I dipped back in and binged and got back in. But in those early days, particularly season 1 and 2, like I was in and I was like wanting to watch every episode day one. So that's kind of where a lot of my appreciation for Rick Grimes comes from. On the other side of the coin, this first face-off, we got Fallout. This is the season 1 TV show, where we've got Ella Purnell, we got Aaron Moten, sorry. We've got, of course, Walton Goggins as the Ghoul, and Cooper Howard, which I really enjoyed that character. So, I had a really good time with Fallout. I'm putting it at A. It's not quite up at S tier level in my own personal view, just because there were some elements of the writing maybe that I would say I wasn't quite on board with, but purely from a costume design, set design, world design, I really enjoyed like being in the world with my headphones on. In terms of Fallout, I've only ever actually played Fallout 3 and Operation Anchorage many, many years ago. So I don't have like an extensive history with Fallout, but I really enjoy that universe, so to speak, and I'm hoping to play more of the games and watch more of the show. I understand season 2 is going to be going towards New Vegas, which is a game I haven't played. Maybe watching the show will get me spurred into playing the game. So I hope that the season 2 kind of goes beyond what they were able to do in season 1. But I enjoyed the show. Glad I watched it. And in a face-off, if I could only take one here in this first face-off, Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, Fallout. I take Fallout, which is I didn't think I'd be saying, to be honest, because Rick Grimes is, as I said, he's one of my favourite characters in media. So actually, to be preferring the Fallout show over the Walking Dead show is a turn of events for me in my own head. So all credit to the Fallout TV show producers on that front, but happy to have watched both. So in the next face-off, we've got Adolescence, which was a first-time watch, and we've got Manhunt Unabomber, which was a rewatch. This is a show with Paul Bettany and Sam Worthington, one of my favourite shows I've seen over the last decade. I believe I originally watched it on Netflix many years ago. Got Paul Bettany as Ted Kaczynski himself, the Unabomber. Then we've got Sam Worthington as Jim Fitzgerald, trying to hunt him down. And I love the dynamic of Sam and Paul playing off against each other in this. I enjoy the kind of satisfaction you're able to get, or I was able to get, from seeing Sam kind of really try and catch him to his own maybe personal detriment, but just watching his character go on that journey of obsession over trying to catch him, just seeing the way his character's brain worked as well. Um, to be clear, this is based on obviously true events, so when I'm saying the word character, it's actually that, to my knowledge, these were all real people that were involved in the Unabomber hunt. So, yeah, enjoyed the cast, enjoy the kind of general way that show was done. I haven't watched the season 2 thing that they did, Deadly Games. Maybe I'll get around to that one day, but it's a different cast and it's a different situation there. So yeah, and as for adolescence, you've got Stephen Graham in there as the lead. We've got Erin Doherty in there in episode 3. Her episode in there, episode 3, basically facing off with Owen Cooper as Jamie Miller. I mean, what an episode. That has stayed with me, to be honest, as much as any of the media I've watched last year. Like that episode 3 in that interview room. I mean, some of the performance coming out from Owen Cooper is just absolutely terrifying. Yeah, not a lot of joy to be found in adolescence. That's probably the one thing that is going to prevent me over the years from rewatching it. Like, I'm glad I've watched it. I think it's very, very powerful media. But my goodness me, it is harrowing and dark subject matter, considering it's also based on, you know, a real kind of culture that seems to have sprung up in our sort of modern social media, smartphone driven world for young people. So yeah, in a face-off, I probably do take Manhunt just because of what I feel is like the rewatchability of it. Maybe with Adolescence, probably the thing holding me back there is it's a little bit too close to home. You know, I was once a young English boy, so I couldn't have been too far off from, you know, going down the kind of path that that Jamie Miller went down, really, because I went to public schools, and yeah, some of the scenes in there with what's going on the playgrounds, it's just absolutely terrifying. And yeah, they did a remarkable job, really, I think, of the way they presented the show, and it's different as well. That's the other thing. You know, some of those shows could feel a bit samey, but I think the nature of the one-shot element gave it its own flavour. So, and Stephen Graham, I mean, come on, Stephen Graham, he has screen presence, you know, and I was impressed with what he was doing with his character again in there. So, as a face-off, again, I take Manhunt, but I'm glad I watched both. I give them both an A plus in my estimation. Now, on to the potentially the main course of this video. Stranger Things. I did a full rewatch last year. I've seen up to the end of season 5. I watched the New Year's Day final episode, and I must say, it's nice to finally close the book on the show. It's been 9 years. Having done a full rewatch, though, I do want to stress that I'm still a big fan of the first season. I think it's the best season. I think season 2 is the second best season. 3 is probably my third favourite season, so it probably does, like, in terms of my favourites, it probably does just slightly go downhill season on season. But some of the characters we've got from season 2, 3, 4 are still some of my favourites. You know, from day one I was team Byers. But then I also team Dustin. You know, Steve Harrington came around as well. I enjoyed Max and Billy, all the stuff they were doing there in season 2. Erica's hilarious season 3. Robin, like, became one of my favourite characters. So yeah, the characters we've been able to get throughout the show, like, I got nothing against any of the characters. Like, it'd be cool to hang out with any of them, but I would say season 1 is still my favourite. And I've done a little tier list here for Stranger Things. So I've got season 1 at S+, I've got season 2 at S, and then I'm going season 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put them all at A+. Different kind of flavours of ice cream. I just didn't feel like any of season 3, 4, 5 ever quite hit the heights of season 1 and 2. Even though season 2 had the Cagliark stuff in there that kind of put it a level below season 1 for me, I still put that season, having rewatched it this year, above 3, 4 and 5. But as a full show to be able to rewatch over the years, and the cultural power of it, the 80s vibe, you know the arcades, the Dungeons and Dragons. Like, this is gonna completely transfix like millions of kids around the world. So I'm excited to see, yeah, how like the generations that have really grown up with this show kind of kick on with their lives, and how it shapes our culture, and you know maybe pushes the games industry into more retro and things like this. So yeah, I'm all for the show. I think it's a big net positive for culture, and I'm happy that it exists. But I'm still gathering my thoughts on 4 and 5 and all the Vecna storyline. I just don't think I was on board with all the Vecna stuff as much as I was season 1, 2, 3, to be honest. And I would say I'll be looking forward to rewatching season 1, 2, 3 a lot more than I would 4 and 5. So yeah, good to finally close the book on it, but I will miss the characters in there. But yeah, just thought I'd throw out some thoughts on TV. Again, only 5 shows that I watched this year. So, or in this last year, 2025. So yes, I've got a few more videos planned. I'm very, very excited to show and record. So let's see what comes next. But that's it for television. Let's see what I end up watching in 2026. Looking forward to some of the things I'm thinking of watching, and we'll see what happens. We'll go from there. So thank you again for your time, and maybe I'll see you in the next instalment. Until then, farewell.